Hey guys, my name is Portia and welcome back to my channel. So guys, today we are back with Love is Blind Season 2 Episode 3 live reaction. So if you guys are ready for that, stay tuned. So as per usual, you guys know that I have my bubbly with me. I have my carbonated water. And we are going to get into this episode. So just a recap for you guys, I'm going to leave my cards here so you can watch my reaction to episode 2. But we left off with a little bit of drama. Remember, Kieran, Megan, and Sophie had a little bit of love triangle-ness going on. So we're going to see how that plays out in this episode. And also, guys, remember that Sarova and Kyle did not have their reveal on last episode. So I'm hoping they start this episode at that moment. But if not, I'm sure it has to be within the first few minutes of the episode. All right, you guys. So I'm always excited to watch this show. So guys, we finally made it through the first 15 minutes, and as always, it did not disappoint. So we started off with Megan and Sophie sitting on the couch next to each other. Remember, I told you guys in the last episode that there was an issue with Kieran giving a gift. So they were sitting there awkward with each other, but finally Sophie brought up the whole issue of the gift. And she told Megan, hey, it's not you. It's just that Kieran was telling me this, and that. But then he gives you something, but it's just not adding up. And Megan say, oh, no, I understand. And Megan also then said in her confessions that, you know what, maybe she should also bring it up with Kieran so that there's like so that she knows that he's not feeding them both the same nonsense pretty much. And we finally see Kyle and Sarova reveal. So at first it was kind of awkward, an awkward walk toward each other, awkward eye contact, but eventually they embraced and hugged each other. They sat down and he held her hand, and I think it was just nerves. I think there was just nerves at first, which is understandable based on what they're doing right now. You know, you meet somebody, fall in love without seeing them, so for the first time it's going to be a little awkward. I understand, I get it, but after that, the next piece of juice came from Aanu and Patrick. So I told you guys that I think Aanu is really into Patrick, but I told you guys back in episode 1 that Patrick is a question mark for me. His intentions I'm not really sure about. But the conversation was going pretty good with them two until the question came up. Patrick asked Aanu, do you think your family will accept me? And Aanu said, well, my mom's opinion is very important to me. And if mom says no, it's a no. Tell me why Patrick came back and said, that's a low vibration. He said, seeking somebody's approval? Nah, that's low vibration. So I don't do that no more. He was like, I used to, for most of my life, did things to get validation from other people, but not anymore. And I'm not going back to that. And from that point on, it became really silent. Almost like a realization, either on his side or hers, that this may not be the match that they thought that it would be. And then in the confession, Aanu admitted that something was off. You know, that after that moment, something just felt off. So we're gonna see where they end up. Yeah. So guys, we just watched the pods with Demola and Katisha. And I told you guys last episode that Demola is very intentional about why he came to this show, what he's looking for, and how he feels about Katisha. Katisha's on the fence between Demola and Javan. However, I told you guys Katisha keeps describing Demola like a friend. I feel like she's already friend zoned him without either admitting to it or without acknowledging it. Because in her confessions, she described him, he bought her flowers and he's always telling her how he likes her and how he feels a connection with them. In her confession, she described him as a boy on Christmas Day. And I was like, what? Like, I get what she's trying to say. Like, he's excited. Like, he's just overcome with joy. But I feel like you could have given a better example than that. And then what is very significant afterwards is that she goes back to the female quarters and she's talking to Barda, and she starts crying because she doesn't understand why two men that she think are good catches would choose her. And in that moment, I felt so sad for her because I feel like we've all been there as women. It's an insecurity on her part, and she's a beautiful girl. It's an insecurity on her part, not feeling like she's worthy and deserving of love and of a good man. I feel like when you go through a few heartbreaks or mistrust in relationships, and you finally meet somebody who checks everything that you want and need in a person, you start questioning, like, is that real? Is it real? Am I being gaslit? So as she's confessing to Barda, she starts crying, and she makes a statement that I know how to give love, but apparently I don't know how to receive it. And I feel like that's just so many people in general, but really I think women, I think we're so hard on ourselves. We are so hard on ourselves about relationships and how we're perceived to the world and how we're perceived in a relationship and to that person. And it's just so sad because she's a very pretty girl and seems to be very down to earth and sweet, and she's just so insecure. And I've been there before, and I don't doubt most women have, and I'm sure men too, but it's just very sad. And she's in a place where she says that she's ready for marriage, but if you haven't dealt with those traumas, if you haven't dealt with the insecurity, how will you show up in a marriage? And are you really ready for marriage? I don't know. So, but you guys, I am team Demola. So we'll see how it goes. But it looks like what's coming up next is Sophie and Kieran. So I'm ready to see this right here.
So ultimately, I'm not going into a relationship feeling disrespected. You decided to gift Megan, and I think it was disrespectful towards me. Your actions have made your intentions very clear.
So guys, we just watched the Sophie and Kieran conversation. So I don't know. I feel like it's just so much to unpack with what happened. So Sophie told Kieran that she felt like what he did was disrespectful with gifting another girl something, whenever he had a connection with her as well. Kieran's response was, I understand how you feel. However, this is an experiment, and I pretty much saying I felt the desire to give it to gift something to Megan. So Sophie, I feel like she's just more hurt. She's very hurt, and for some reason, she feels embarrassed. So Sophie feels that since Kieran gifted Megan something, that somehow Sophie is considered second best. And I don't know. I guess I could play devil's advocate and say, oh, yeah, she's right, because if he really liked her, he would have gifted it to her. But then another part of me is like, this is an experiment for them to figure out which person they feel a deeper connection with. Do I think she should have ended the relationship? Because I'm sorry, she did. She told him that she was done. Do I think she should have ended everything? No. I think she should have talked it out with him, see what he said, and just go from there. And if Kieran still ended up with a different person, then so be it. But I don't think she should have ended it. She was in her feelings. She she mentioned that, if you saw me out in the real world, you would see that I'm a catch. When people bring up their looks on this show, it's so annoying because the whole point of the show is to not know how you look. So, girl, all these girls are catches. I mean, they're all pretty. So, relax, for one. And for two, I don't think she's used to rejection because of how she looks. She's a very pretty girl. She's probably used to getting whatever guys she like or she wants. But and I think part of her pride too was hurt because of the gift issue. So I don't think she handled it the best. She handled it with total emotions. Like, it was all emotional. Um, I think she should have just talked it out with him, because that would have been a moment for to see if they could resolve issues together, and it would have been a moment for her to see, okay, I brought this up to him. Let's see what he does from here on out. If he does it again, then he was lying. He was gaslighting me. But if he doesn't do it again and we continue to grow our connection, then you'll see what happens. And Kieran said, he felt bad for making her feel bad. And he knew that giving the gift to Megan, it could have possibly caused an issue. Do I think he was wrong to still give it? No. But again, it's an experiment to see where the cards fall, because just because he gave her a gift doesn't mean that they would end up being the best connection. So I think Sophie sold herself short for ending the relationship, or ending the Pod's connection with Kieran. So, guys, we just watched the most awkward conversation in Pod's moment between Aanu and Patrick. So I told you guys, I thought Aanu was really into Patrick. And then their last pod conversation was ended kind of awkward. So I assumed Patrick would come back to the pods today with that awkward, standoffish, I'm not sure now type of attitude, but it was actually Aanu. Patrick brought up, that his next step would be proposal, and for some reason that was surprising to Aanu. Like, I don't understand why. And he's asked her twice on here to sing for him, because she's a singer, and both times she has not done it. And I don't know if it's because I don't know, like, she started off like really into him, and now she's just very standoffish, and I'm not really sure why. I don't think it's from that previous conversation. I don't think so. Um, but I think now he's starting to question everything, because he's like, singing is what you do, and you can't sing for me. And then I bring up marriage and you acting all awkward like this. So we're gonna see what might happen. I had said at first Patrick was kind of iffy to me. I couldn't read him. I didn't know his intentions. But now that his intentions are to the forefront, let's see what happens. You see, this is what I'm saying. Like, why are we our own worst enemy? So right now we're watching Javan and Katisha. And before she went in the pod, she specifically said, I know where I stand with Demola, but with Javan, I don't know. So I need reassurance. Why do we do this to ourselves? Why? Like, you have a man who is in front of you, intentional, showing you, telling you, but you want to go over here to the next guy and beg him for what it is that he wants to give you. Why do we do this to ourselves? It's the sabotage, right? It goes back to that feeling that she doesn't feel deserving of actual, really truly non-toxic love. I think most people talk about not being in toxic relationships, but I think people are comfortable with toxic relationships because you know what to expect. So the fact that she already has a guy that has put himself on the table and they have a connection, and he's being upfront about what he wants, his actions and his words match, you're going to try to chase down this other guy to try to pull out what feelings he may or may not have for you. Why? That's just so frustrating to watch. It really is. But it does reflect what she said, that she doesn't know how to receive love, and that she goes for guys who are emotionally unavailable. We see that actually right now playing out. Y'all, tell me why Javan goes back to the male quarters. And of course, Demo lies sitting on the couch with the other guys. And Javan is just talking like, oh, well, she's asking me this, asking me that. I can't tell you what I don't know because when she's whenever Katisha is talking to him in the box, he's very like, you can tell he has these walls up. And I think most people do, especially in this type of dating atmosphere, but he's really not responding. I mean, really not responding much at all. And so he goes back to the male quarters and she's talking like, oh, yeah, she's asking me this, asking me that. I can't tell you what I don't know. Just pretty much just downplaying the girl. And Demola sitting on the couch. He not saying anything. He listening. He minding his business.
She deserves the world and she deserves a good guy. She just needs to believe in him, and I feel like I'm that guy.
Well, yeah, I'm strong.
So this is what I imagine will be our little first.
I'll be alright.
But obviously, doesn't mean that like our connection wasn't.
Katisha cannot see that Javan is gaslighting her. Anyway, so Katisha had two pods today. First pods with Demola. Demola is so sweet. He confessed once again how he feels about her. He's fallen in love with her. He sees himself spending the rest of his life with her. He bought her flowers last pod. In this pod, he made them like a little date with different types of food and drinks and everything. And she made it known to him that, hey, you know what? I think I'm gonna choose you, and it made him so happy because he confessed his love to her in the pods, and then homegirl goes to the pod with Javan. I'm thinking she gonna break it off with him because she's pretty much told Demola, I'm choosing you. But guess what? You walk into the pods, Javan had flowers there. You know what he said? He said in his confession, oh, time is winding down. Now, you have to start making choices. So I got to step up my game. Huh? And then she tells him, hey, I think my connection with the other person is stronger. He said, well, if you want to go that way, I'm not going to stop you. I'm not going to change your mind. Like, he is just gaslighting her the whole way. Ugh, so annoying. Y'all, this girl just literally 20 minutes ago told Debola, don't worry, you're my guy. She went back to the female quarter and said, y'all, I found my man. She goes in to supposedly break it off with Javan. To now she's saying, oh, I don't know now. Now I'm torn again between both guys. Huh? Huh? What? Y'all gonna have to excuse the lighting. My natural light is going away, so it's gonna look a little bit darker for this next 20 minutes of the episode. But we're gonna make it through, y'all. So y'all, guess what? We got our third proposal. And guess who it's with? Kieran and Megan. Kieran and Megan are now engaged, guys. So, cheers to our third engagement. So guys, we finally made it to the end of episode 3, and I'm so thankful because my lighting in here is not cooperating. My daylight is gone. But anyway, y'all, so we ended with a conversation between Aanu and Patrick. So Aanu went into the pods today knowing that, she's been very standoffish with Patrick and he has asked her to sing and she declined twice. So she wrote him a song, y'all. She went in the pods ready to sing for that man. She went into the pods ready to confess for that man. And he said, halt. He said, wait a minute now. Before you start singing a song to me that I don't deserve, wait a minute. And the last thing that we hear before the credits is my spleen. And so there we go. So yeah, there we go. So we're going to see how that ends. I think we all can pretty much guess where it's going to go from that part because the tables have turned. And in the last pot, Patrick said that the connection was gone for him. So let's see how it plays out. We got a proposal this episode. So Jed and Barta did appear quite a few times in the pods. I didn't really mention it because there's nothing really much happening with them. They both seem to be, like I said, smitten on the same page. But Barta did create a word puzzle, which I thought was so cute, for Jed to find different words in. That was so cute. So yeah, guys, it's episode 3. So this is getting to be juicy. As the episodes go, we see couples evolve or go downhill. So we're gonna see what happens. Yeah, guys. So that is it. So I will catch you guys in the next episode, episode 4, y'all. We are the closer we get to the pods being over, the closer we can get to like the real life, people living together. That part is also very exciting. So I will see you guys in the next live reaction. Until that time, guys, cheers.